Hi, I'm Alan Ross, Managing Editor of APC Media. We are here at the 2026 IEEE PES T&D Show. We're here at IEEE PES T&D in Chicago. Thomas, welcome. Thank you. You are with Asta Energy Solutions. I got it right?
Right, yes.
Okay, good. I got that. But thank you for joining us. I want to ask some things about Asta, but before we get to that, talk a little bit about your background. I know you were with Siemens for years, but talk a little bit, go before that, okay? Engineering school, what happened? How did you get into the business?
Okay, yes. So first of all, thanks you for having me here. Yeah, I'm the CSO for the Asta Group. And in that role, it's really quite an interesting business for me. Okay. I came, I would say for the past 25 years, I was working in this industry. Yeah. In engineering at first at VA Tech Elin in Austria. Then 2005, the company was acquired by Siemens AG. I was for most of my career in the service business, doing repairs, retrofits, spare parts business, this kind of stuff. Also located to Canada, worked in Canada and US for some years.
Where did you live in Canada?
In Toronto.
I grew up in Toronto.
Yeah, or Oakville, next to Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I came back to Austria in 2019, from that on, I was in the sales for power transformers, all the factories within Siemens Energy in the days. It was quite interesting time because in all these years I can myself, I can feel and see, how things have changed and how the market has changed, the dynamics. Yeah. And there was the ups and downs, but now I think we're in a very good market momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's the next question. What are the trends? What are the things that you're seeing in the marketplace? And I mean, that could be utility, it could be what's happening with data centers, but talk a little bit about what you see in the marketplace as a trend today.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm very much into the power transformer side of business. Yeah, we also are doing generator windings and synchronous condenser windings. But I would say this is my area, and the trends in this area is growth, I must say. Yeah, it is when I speak to our customers, almost everybody tells you something about, I'm doubling my capacity, I'm building a new factory here, a new factory over there, I'm doing a strategic investment with a supplier. There is investments all over the place. But what I also see is, especially on the medium power transformer arena, that there are many OEMs that not only expand their capacity, but also expand their product portfolio, meaning that they go up from 138 or 230 kV, 345, 500, even 765 kV. Right. And having worked for a transformer manufacturer for so many years, I know that this is a big challenge, or can become a very tricky challenge. Yeah.
A challenge for them to scale up and not knowing, because right now there's a huge demand in the 765 area because we're rebuilding the whole U.S. grid. But the challenge is just because of competency building it, or I would say, if it is a different animal from the insulation system, whether it's 138 kV or 765 kV, with all the barrier you have inside the insulation system, and if you're not used to this, it is you need really expertise, and you need to make your own experience, until you are really professional, and that's where I see, a certain risk, that not people underestimate this. Right. Because I don't think people really realize this. I don't think we even talk about it in the industry. Transformers are bench built, and they're built one at a time by hand.
Correct.
So we don't have robots doing this because we're just not building that much through there. So you do have to have a ton of expertise at doing that. Yeah. I want to talk now about Asta's made a decision to focus on a market. What part of the market are you focusing on?
Yeah, we're focusing on the premium segment within the conductive materials. Okay. You see, In all major power transformer designs, you have windings made out of copper.
Right.
We are very much specialized on the continuously transposed conductors, the so-called CTCs, which are very common in this industry. But also there, there are different designs and different ways of how to do it, and also a lot of quality criteria and tolerances. So the devil is in the detail of this. It's in the microns area where the difference is. And this is where we feel very strong, and where we also have the, customer relationships in this product environment. A little bit on the side or next to the transformers, there is, I think, another trend coming into play in the US, but also in Europe with synchronous condensers, where you need large machines, generators, and also here Asta is involved with the Roebel bars, for the windings of the stator and the rotor. This is another interesting business for us.
You buy a lot of copper.
We do.
That's a great conductive material.
Yeah.
The fit between where the market is then and what you do. You used to compete with some of the transformer manufacturers, and now you can go visit GE Vernova and Hitachi Energy and do all that. They welcome you in because you have great background from Siemens. Talk a little bit about that. As you see the marketplace, are we overbuilding capacity for the future, or is it needed and we're just never gonna catch up?
Well, I mean, that's a little bit hard to answer, I would say. I think if I look into what the industry is doing, I think, and I have spoken to a lot of people only today and yesterday, it seems that it is definitely necessary. We also listen to analysts, and we do, market reports and study this. And I was recently with one of the big corporations on a supplier day, where their executive that gave the speech about, the market, he said, what we are experiencing now on the transformer investment side is a first cycle until the 2030s, or until 2030.
Right.
In the early 2030s, he expects another investment cycle with even more transformer factories needed to cope with the huge energy demand of the super or hyperscalers, how you call them, data centers and AI factories. So, I mean, I definitely believe in this, and also we are following this growth scenario.
Okay, it is, especially at the high voltage side, the United States 765 grid itself is going to take 20 to 25 years to do right. So that kind of bodes well. There's going to be a lot of transformers purchased by utilities over those years. One of the other things, so Asta is, are you manufacturing only in Austria, or are you manufacturing here as well?
No, we do have various factories in Europe. This is also where our headquarters is located, in Austria.
Okay.
We have factories in Asia, in India, and in China, and we have 2 more factories in Brazil.
Okay.
That being said, we serve typically local for local, but the US is also, for us, not having a factory here, a huge market, which we also cover from the European and from the Latin American factories.
Okay. And there's a real an openness to buying from Europe and Brazil. There is a reluctance to buy power transformers from China right now.
Right. Yeah.
And the tariffs up and down, that will settle itself out, because if you look at supply, there is enough supply for the market. It's just in the wrong geographics. But some of the right geographics for the United States definitely are Europe and South America, Brazil. So excellent for that.
Right.
So I want to appeal to your other side, before you came to Asta, okay? When you were with Siemens, you made a decision, and it wasn't that Asta got privatized from Siemens. It was a job change for you, a career change.
Right.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was an opportunity, at Asta, to get to a C-level position.
Okay.
And at the same time, not only growing in your career ladder, but as well being able in this company, Asta, to also work with my former competitors with Givanova, with Hitachi, with all the other big names, was also a motivation, because I'm very much interested in this transformer business. I'm in this business for so many years, and also, you know, connecting with the big players, the other big players, was quite motivating for me. Now being in the company for almost 1.5 years, I see it also works as expected. And you know, this whole growth story, investments, we are signing a lot of long-term agreements with our customers, you know, so now I can work not only with Siemens, but with the whole industry.
Yeah, the former competitors are now your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Any last thoughts about just that 2030 bump? I like that, thinking about that. Asta's got to be thinking about the same thing. What does it look like after this cycle goes up? What is it that you see for Asta in the future to be able to start to address that 2030 bump? I guess I'm really asking, you're going to build a factory here in the United States or Canada? We'll take North America.
Let's talk about this one next time.
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
No, I mean, Asta have done a very successful IPO early in the year in January.
Okay.
So now we are a stock listed company.
Okay. What exchange?
In Germany, in Frankfurt. Right. You know, with this comes also now responsibility, because we want to definitely grow, and we will grow the business. But we will not grow it just, you know, for our own sake of interest, but it is really in alignment together with our customers. So we bring additional capacity to the market. For example, around 20% of additional capacity already installed in Asia, another 40% of additional capacity for CTC production, for example, in Brazil, and another 60% more in Europe. Okay. And this really is, we see this as an investment into the future, into the business, into the industry, and we do this always in alignment with commitment from some of our customers. Right. So we typically sign long-term agreements with our customers. That's a new business model actually in the market. It hasn't been there before. Right. And that works quite well. And I think with this model, we can also grow beyond 2030 and gain another and maintain our position in the market.
Yeah, it's been unusual that some of your customers are making commitments with their customers, the utilities, and they're making longer term. I mean, we never really had a situation where people are saying, I want to buy 10 slots for this transformer in 2030 at prices prevailing, because we don't know what copper prices are going to do. But is that planning that will help us all get to where we need to get to? Just looking ahead and making sure we think about it a little bit ahead. Last question for you, and this is a generalist, just thinking of the whole market. Back in the 1970s, the transformer market was overbuilt. And they kept bringing on capacity. And then in the 70s, it kind of didn't drop, but it certainly was flat for years. And a lot of people, especially in the United States, began closing up. They closed up shop. We're seeing this similar trend now where people are adding capacity, they're bringing it online. And we kind of talked about this when you talked about the gentleman that spoke about the future and in 2030, they're going to do that. There's another part of this thing is, in order to do what we need to do, and the word has to be collaboration. Talk about that from Asta's standpoint as you work with your customers, as they work with their customers. Do you ever get to work with their customers, with the utilities? Do you get to sit down at the table with everybody, and just from a planning of assets, planning of production things? Talk about that.
No, I mean, coming from the transformer OEM business, certainly I have a lot of contacts directly to the utilities. And we maintain that contact as well in Asta. Because for us, it's crucial really to understand what drives the utilities to grow. And what I see, it's a lot, especially in the US, the AI factories, the data centers. If one utility told me just recently, if I only had more transformers and more energy to bring it from A to B, you know, I would be the hero. And that interaction we do continuously, because we really would like to understand, you know, from the end users, what's going on, what's the demand. not only for the capacity purpose, but as well in terms of trends on technology. Asta is very much a technology-driven company, and we are always interested in what comes after, let's say, this super cycle. Yeah, maybe new designs, maybe different applications, and we are very much looking into R&D and innovation for this time after this super cycle. One thing I haven't mentioned so far, but also is relevant because you mentioned we are purchasing and delivering a lot of copper. Asta have their own recycling process and upcasting process, so we can, out of old scrap, for example, old transformer windings, old cables, must be high-grade material. We can produce new copper rod, and from the copper rod we can produce any type of CTC or other conductive materials. And we really believe in this for two reasons. First of all, for the environment, we can cut about 50% of the CO2 emissions with this, which is very much interesting for the European TSOs. And additionally, when you think about all the additional capacity of transformer factories coming, available in the next 2 or 3 years. Not sure what happens with the copper, right? And as Asta being able to produce their own copper rod and having a certain own supply chain resiliency is quite helpful.
Oh, that's excellent, because sustainability, that is sustainability, and that's in the U.S. A lot of corporations are really looking for sustainable solutions. That's an excellent solution to bring. Well, that was going to be the last question for you. What makes Asta unique? That's one of the things. Anything else that makes Asta unique?
Yeah, I think we are the specialist, I would say, in terms of technology. We do things that others don't do. This is, I would say, a niche in this market that we feel. And typically, it reminds me a lot of my previous jobs. Customers always came to me and to the companies I worked for a certain reason, because others couldn't do. And this is, I think, what is also
doing what others can't or won't do. Good.
Can't or won't do. Yeah.
Can't or do. It's so good to have you here, Thomas.
Thank you very much. Yeah.